Good evening, everyone. It is your boy Shad Talks Graps, and we are back with another installment of Wrestling Republic off the air NXT review show right after NXT is done. And I know y'all are asking, why are you hosting the show today, Shad? This isn't the show you normally host. That's kind of strange. Did stuff change up after Mania? No, it didn't. But everybody burnt out, so it's gonna be a little different today. I don't have neither of my regular co-hosts today. Drizzy is busy. Clark is still out in Vegas enjoying the Mania, uh, you know, festivities. So I had to, search the nation, man. I couldn't find nobody in America. So I had to go across the pond. And I knew one man was going to watch NXT. And I want to make this clear. Watch this show, but also make sure you go on the Wrestling Republic site to read his review because he will also have the ratings and all of that for tonight's NXT. My dog, Archie Carter, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, mate. Yeah, I'm honored to make my debut on Off the Air. Um, it was a fun show of NXT tonight. It was the post WrestleMania NXT. It was live in Las Vegas, which is a first for NXT. They don't usually do that each year. After WrestleMania, they usually just go back to the Performance Center. But no, yeah, it was a fun episode. And yeah, before I'll be putting my review on the website, I'll review it here with you.
Yes, and I appreciate that. And like I said, y'all make sure to read the review with all the extensive ratings and all of that to it. I know y'all always gonna be, tripping about the ratings and all that, but it's okay, man. Cut a slack. But let's get on to the show. Like you mentioned, bro, this is the first show post Stand and Deliver post Mania
Yeah.
weekend, and I did like it being in this little venue. Obviously, I think having a different crowd sometimes than the performance center crowd can be a nice little switch up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised there's still people in Las Vegas going to wrestling shows
Yeah.
after what all of the shows that they've had last week. And but they still had a pretty good crowd, and they gave them a good show. And they started off with a tag team title match for the women's tag team titles. And I gotta say this, bro. If y'all was watching the watch along, but my heart dropped after Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria won the titles because having Shad pick between Becky Lynch and Tatum Paxley would have been one of the toughest things that I would have ever had to do as a podcaster in my entire life. Drizzy was texting me like, "Yo, what you gonna do, huh? What's gonna happen on Tuesday?" I was like, "Oh no!" But of course, we know Monday Night Raw, Becky and Lyra dropped the titles to the former champs, which are now current champs again, Liv
Yep.
Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, and they had a match against Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. Um, initial reaction towards it, it hurts to see my goat Tatum Paxley take an L today. But this wasn't Tatum Paxley's fault. If anything, this was all Gigi Dolan's fault. And I am starting to get frustrated that Gigi Dolan has become so much of a burden for Tatum Paxley's win-loss record that Tatum might have to look in the same direction as if she looked in Lyra and cut dead weight because this is a travesty. She should be champion. Matter of fact, if she wrestled both of them by herself, she would have had a better chance of winning the match. But needless to say, on that, all jokes aside, this was a solid bout between both women. I think trolling aside and whatnot. I think Tatum Paxley is a remarkable talent. The
Mm-hmm.
athleticism, the smooth sets, so innovative. She has a lot of skill, and Gigi and her they feel like a good cohesive tag team aesthetically. I
Yeah.
do think there are some kinks that need to kind of be ironed out as them working as a team, but they had to go against Liv and Raquel. I want to ask you, Arch, what were your thoughts in regards to the match between these four women, and just everything in totality.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this match. I think it was a good start to NXT. Obviously, I want to give credit to Liv and Raquel, who's wrestled 3 matches in 3 days. Obviously, WrestleMania Sunday, they wrestled on Raw, and they also wrestled on NXT. I think there was maybe perhaps you could kind of tell that with some rustiness in the ring. But that's just they're just going to be tired because they've just been wrestling so much, and they've just been working as hard as ever. And I'm exactly with you on the Tatum train. I absolutely love Tatum Paxley. I think she's probably one of the most underappreciated wrestlers in the women's division. Um, the fact that she wasn't really on the Stand and Deliver in the ladder match at Stand and Deliver was kind of shocking to me, considering Gigi and Shotzi have had a shot at the North American Championship now. I thought Tatum would have had her chance at Stand and Deliver. But no, yeah, the match was great. One thing I actually find quite funny this year is, although last year tag team wrestling in the women's division on the main roster was fantastic, I think NXT this year have done a better job of building up tag teams than the main roster has. I mean, you've got Tatum and Gigi, you've got the Meta Girls, Zaruka, and if you look at that gauntlet match that we had to determine new number one contenders for Liv and Raquel at WrestleMania, all of those teams I mentioned in NXT would have fit a lot better in that gauntlet match than any of the teams that were already in it, which is a testament to kind of how deep that women's division is in NXT. That not only are they able to give they're able to give the women so much time that they're able to kind of build partnerships and tag teams now. So that's what that's what I loved about NXT, and this is what I loved about this match. Is that this is what I love about this year a lot in NXT, is that the tag champs have started to come to NXT a lot more and defend the titles. And I hope we see that more often, because although Liv and Raquel, they may have been a bit rusty tonight, I think they are incredible in their own right. I think they're Triple H's version of HBK and Diesel in terms of Liv Morgan can have a great match with pretty much anyone on the roster right now. And Raquel is just such a dominant and kind of powerful force that they kind of just go extremely well together, like kind of HBK and Diesel did. So yeah, I really enjoyed the match. And yeah, maybe it would have been nice to see Tatum and Gigi win, but Liv and Raquel carried on their tag team title run. But Tatum and Gigi, I don't think they're far away from a main roster call up, honestly. And although you think maybe Gigi should be, Tatum should cut ties with Gigi, I think she might be the rocket to help her get to the main roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's all jokes aside. Gigi Dolan is a splendid talent.
Yeah,
You touched on something right quick, man, in regards to the embarrassment of riches that is the NXT women's division. We like to
yeah,
call it the best women's division in pro wrestling. That years ago, and it feels like it is a commonality to
hmm
the fans, to everybody nowadays. I do like that they do like the women's tag title is a floating title, and I wouldn't be
yeah,
mad that you have, like, they teased Liv and Raquel versus Zarya and Soul today, and I think
yeah.
stylistically that match is really, really, like, on par, like,
Oh
with
yeah, that'd be
both women.
fantastic. Yeah, yeah,
So, but Raquel Rodriguez, I have to give her some props real quick, because that is a woman who obviously won. Good on her. She has battled through a lot of adversity that she's spoken about, but they finally got it right with her because I remember her in NXT prior when she was with Dakota Kai as Dakota. Like that is the
Yeah,
role that she needs to play. She needs to be the enforcer, kind of that bodyguard type of character, than just being like a forcing a babyface character on her. So
yeah,
I think that her and Liv are they're such a good tag team. They mix well, and I'm definitely
yeah.
excited to see what the future has for them. Let's get
Mhm.
a couple comments in because we got some of the regulars in the house today. The homie DC Warlord is saying Chemical X will win this Sunday. I don't. Is that's not their name, right? Like they haven't trademarked
I
themselves
no, I don't think they've trademarked that. I feel like that's just something they kind of called themselves on social
because
media
they're
and
like,
stuff.
yeah, because like I
Yeah,
get it because Chemical X is the thing for the Powerpuff Girls. I'm
yeah.
guessing they're calling them like cells the Powerpuff Girls, but they're not.
Mhm.
I don't think they can trademark that. Honestly, that's a tough one. Gotta go against Cartoon Network. We got the good brother Bobby Petito saying him and his girlfriend are watching the channel today. I really appreciate both of y'all tuning in, man. DC Warlord was disappointed. He is repping Pax Nation as well. And then
Mhm.
Bobby is saying Tatum Paxley for a belt. Here's the thing. These are the type of people on the roster that I won't say worry about, but I also wonder like how long they'll be in NXT. What is their,
Right.
there's all realistically there's only so many roster spots on the main roster,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
I think, to touch on Raw for a quick second, uh the the moment last night, and I don't even think y'all talked about it on the show today, really, did y'all? About
No,
the
we didn't talk about it once,
so
actually.
well, you know what, we got a little time today. Let's talk about it for a brief second. EO versus Stephanie Vaquer. Then you had Julia come out and Roxanne come out. To me, like that felt like a defying moment in a sense,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely, yeah.
right?
100%. Yeah, yeah. It felt like a proper women's takeover, like a women's wrestling takeover again,
It
which is awesome to see.
it gave me a little bit of a feel of
Yeah.
when they was doing the Survivor Series when like Keith Lee and the Undisputed Era came
Yeah,
out,
yeah, yeah.
like, and they all fit. Like first and foremost, we'll talk about obviously the main event, but Stephanie,
Yeah.
if there is any inkling that you think that she would make it on the main roster, last night
Mhm.
she was is as over as the woman who's the world champion that had
Yeah.
won a
She
match.
fit like a glove. She fit like a glove.
Like she was almost as over as Io, and Io just won the
Yeah.
world heavyweight title in Vegas at WrestleMania, and the
Mhm.
fans were just going ballistic for that. Then Julia, the face off with Rhea, my God, that felt like so
That was
fierce.
electric. Yeah, that was electric.
Yeah, and this the WWE, like the women's division as a whole, like I do think the tides will turn where you'll see it being a lot more prominent. I do think at some
Mhm.
point, like this whole notion of us wanting a main event won't even be a thing because these women will be undeniable, and it showed
Yeah.
this past weekend with that triple threat. Because the
Mhm.
talk of the tale is that everyone is like, you know what, that should have been the main event off of
Yeah.
like the quality of match. So,
Well,
hey,
women's wrestling is if you gotta be honest about it, it's the future of wrestling. The amount of people I've seen online that are saying, a lot of people are obviously hugely invested in WWE or AEW as a product, but a lot of people are also saying that what's carrying their interest for wrestling a lot of the time is women's wrestling at the minute.
mm-hmm,
So it's 100% the future of wrestling, and we're gonna get to that point where we're gonna be starting to be seeing main events for the women that we're not even gonna really think twice about it because it's just gonna be normal, like you said. Um, but yeah, but then what comes with that is when you've got so many talented women coming up to the roster, then you've got a lot of talented women that's going to have to step up as well in the NXT. And I feel like that's when Tate and Paxi is going to really shine. Women like Tate and Paxi are going to really shine on NXT.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, there's a lot. It's tough because NXT is just such a deep talent pool in the women's division of talent that I mean even through to like Evolve, like it's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, the Evolve, the whole ID pipeline.
Yeah.
Um, this is an interesting comment from Bobby before we get to the next topic. I like to see some NXT women's wrestlers cross paths against Stratton on Friday on
Hmm.
SmackDown. Give
That'd
me
be cool.
Jordan Grace. Give me Jordan Grace
That'd be awesome.
stepping up to Stratton on Friday. Just the
Hmm.
two buff blondes going face to face. That's a moment, and that honestly,
Yeah.
like that will have the crowd going crazy for it. But
Yeah.
that'll be crazy. What it made me feel crazy today was that Drizzy is not on the show today because we've been talking about this man for months upon months about how much we've missed him. And it's okay, Drizzy. We'll be able to. He's back now.
Yeah.
Noam Dar making his return back onto NXT television. We had Lexis King and Ricky Starks. I mean, my bad, Ricky Saints have a bit of I was calling it like you ever play Mortal Kombat and there's that, you know, gauntlet of like the bricks that goes up. He's
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
go to the AEW wrestlers bricks for some odd reason. He had to go against Sean Spears. Then he went against
Yeah.
Ethan
Ethan
Page.
Page. Yeah.
Now he got to go against Brian Pillman Jr., Lexis King. It
Yeah.
is hysterical to me. But Lexis King had to defend his the Heritage Cup because the magicians told him he had to this past Saturday. And man, we got a returning Noam Dar, and I'm gonna kick it off first because
Hmm.
I am super excited, man. I miss the Supernova so much. This guy, to me, is a person that is heavily underrated on the NXT roster. When I think of a Noam Dar, I don't think he does anything bad. I think he actually does everything exceptional from the entertainment value to being able to cut a promo, being able to tell stories, being that damn good bell for bell. You know, the most decorated Heritage Cup champion of all time.
Yeah.
He finds his place, and I think him returning is so needed for the NXT men's division because we're starting to get a little bit more depth now.
Hmm.
Oba's doing what he's doing. We got Trick, we got Javon. Those are the heavy set guys that we know are on the top of it. But then you add Ricky Saints, got Ego. We got Lexis King, Sean Spears. You know, a lot of young talent on the rise from the dudes from Dark State, Tony D'Angelo, Stacks. Like the men's division is starting to shape a little bit. And seeing Noam back felt good. He got the trophy off of Lexis King. I'm gonna be honest though, the Heritage Cup to me is something that needs to be not a regular defended thing unless you
Right.
implement a lot of technical wrestlers onto the concept of it. In my opinion,
Hmm.
it just sometimes it loses its story to it, but Lexus King ain't needed. So I'm glad he got it off him. We're gonna extend the story between him and Saints next
Yeah.
week. I mean, Arch, what did you think in regards to Noam coming back and then him having a match with Lexus tonight?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, first of all, I've been a big Noam Dar fan for years. This is somebody that, as you said, is deeply underappreciated. And I feel like he's coming back just at the right time. As you said, the men's division in NXT, it's been a topic of complaint for a lot of fans online. A lot of fans saying, especially when you compare it to the women's division, a lot of fans are maybe complaining about the lack of quality in the men's division. But now we're starting to get more depth. We've got Ricky Saints in the on the roster. Obviously got that new faction, Dark State, which the jury's still out on them. But Noam Dar coming back is absolutely fantastic. He's, as you said, fantastic in the ring, just so smooth in the ring. Probably one of the smoothest wrestlers, bell for bell in NXT, maybe even in WWE. But also character-wise, before he joined forces with Metaphor, he didn't really have too much of a kind of, I guess, interesting character. He wasn't really able to show himself as show his full what he's capable of as in terms of character work. Since he joined Metaphor, I've been blown away by how good his character work is. He's thoroughly entertaining. Um, he can play a baby face great. You know, that kind of lovable, kind of funny baby face. He can be extremely annoying as a heel. You know, he's able to kind of put on a whiny voice when he does that hello, 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 that kind of thing he does all at the start of his Supernova sessions. That can get quite annoying, which he definitely makes sure that it has that effect. And I'm happy he's won the Heritage Cup. I'm happy that he's gotten back with the Heritage Cup, but I've got to be honest about the Heritage Cup. I don't know if there's too much room for it on NXT. Like, I agree. I don't know. Maybe it's something that should be. I'm not going to say scrapped, but look, there's a lot of we've got a women's North American title, we got a men's North American title, 2 world title titles, a tag team title, and then obviously all the other side stories away from the titles. It's going to be tough to kind of really tell a proper rivalry of the Heritage Cup. So I'm wondering maybe if it's better to well, as we saw today, Lexus King and Ricky Saints, if Lexus won, they would have joined it would have been a champion versus champion. I think doing that with Noam Dar and Ricky Saints potentially could be quite interesting, and that the winner gets both titles and kind of merges into one, because I feel like the Heritage Cup we're struggling to find a place for it on the card at the minute, and it's a shame, but it's just the way it goes. And I feel like maybe merging it with North American title, something like that would be a much better fit.
Yeah, I actually don't hate that idea, and I think that would be a good match, a good feud as well, because
Yeah.
obviously people are excited and happy to see Noam back. But like, I do like Noam as a heel. I think he's a good heel. I think him and Starks could be Saints. I truthfully don't. I think Ricky and Noam could be a fun feud just off of the mic too. Like, I feel like they'll both be able to cut promos on each other. It'd be entertaining.
Yeah,
Give you
100%.
that good feel. Got a ton of comments in regards to this. First and foremost, we got the homie Fernando Zayas saying Saints versus King is going to be a surprise. Everyone and is going to be fired. Yeah, thing is this with Lexus King, he's a very interesting talent because he's a lot of potential to people. He's just never really found a way to reach it. I think he's really going through a lot of bits of like trying to figure himself as a character and as a pro wrestler. But like, and you talk about like just basic fundamentals. I think he's a solid pro wrestler. I don't think he ever does anything bad bell to bell. Like I've never seen him have like straight up stinkers. And then also I think he does what he does as a character. Maybe the expectations are super high because he's Brian Pillman Jr. and who his dad is. But like, you know, sometimes you got to kind of just lower the temperament. Like, you know, Bronny ain't going to be LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? He's just going to be Bronny James. You know, he might wheel out a good career for himself, and that's fine. Like, you can't expect everybody. Like, sometimes the second generation, like, does outdo that, or the third generation, whatever it may be. Like, Dustin, Cody, like, you don't get a lot of those. Like, you can only expect whatever it can be. I've
got to be honest though. I when I'm doing my NXT reviews, I always make sure I look on social media and kind of see the kind of thoughts of fans kind of across the globe about NXT. And I always see a lot of stick for Lexis King. And I've got to be honest, I kind of love Lexis King in NXT because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like when he first arrived, it was somebody that was kind of, what's the word? He was kind of trying to prove a point because
Yeah.
he got released from AEW, or he asked for his release from AEW. I can't quite remember what it was, but he's trying to prove a point, and kind of, as you said, trying to step out of that shadow of his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, as you said, I think he's got all the tools to be a very reliable and consistent heel in WWE. You know, he's easy to hate. I mean, he looks like an idiot, which he's supposed to look like. And he's
He
actually
was
like
trying to go.
he's actually got a lot of a lot. He's actually gotten a lot better in the ring as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've really like I before in AEW when a Brian Pillman Jr. match came on, like it wasn't something I was really looking at too intensely. And now
Right.
it's like, I'm happy to see Alexis King match. And I'm actually excited to see Alexis King and Ricky Saints next week.
Me too. I,
Yeah,
I totally agree with you. I think like I think the hate is like, here's the thing. Here's the best story, and I'm not saying he's going to be like him, but you look at someone like a Dominic Mysterio when he first
yeah,
came out, the same stuff was said about him. Oh, he can't cut a promo. Oh, he looks stupid. Oh, he can't wrestle. Oh, he's not his dad. And you
yeah.
give him time, you give him legitimate time to develop. Dom took a long time to get where he's at right now.
Oh
It took
yeah,
4 to 5 years to get to this level. I'll even
yeah.
say the initial part of the Judgment Day, he wasn't a finished product.
Oh
Now
no, yeah,
he's closer to a finished product, and he developed. Who's to say Lexus can't get in that same type of bag, in that same type of
yeah. I agree.
trajectory?
Yeah.
Like, I think we definitely need to give the guy some opportunity. And yeah, I think he's in the right place. This is NXT. It is development at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Like, I know
Yeah.
we love the show on a week to week basis, but hey man, it is what it is. We also have hold up. Okay, that question is okay. Never mind. That question has nothing to do with this topic. What's good, Anthony Mazzano? Well, I'll get to your question in a bit. But let's get to the next topic because they said his name and he appeared again.
Yeah.
We had a promo exchange, obviously, over Femi coming out and still from this past weekend in a classic triple threat between Trick and
Yeah.
Javon. Trick comes out. He wants a one-on-one match. He says, I was not pinned. You pinned Javon Evans. You got to run the fair one because that's my
Yeah.
title. And then Joe Hendry pops out. You say his name, and he appears. And he kind of goes a little bit crazy on Trick Williams.
Yeah.
He called him a bitch. I mean, straight up. This is off the air. We can curse a little bit over here. He called that man a bitch.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see, obviously, after everything, Trick was kind of crashing out backstage,
Hmm.
breaking stuff. I think Anonymous dropped a video showing a little bit more of it and whatnot
Oh really?
too.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. He that dropped, and I'm curious to see what the direction is in regards to all three of these guys. I mean, I'll ask you first.
Yeah.
What do you think Joe Hendry's place is within this storyline? Do you think the King of the Triple Threat has another triple threat between Hendry, Trick, and him? Or do you
Mm.
think this is like maybe Trick goes and has a feud with Hendry and TNA? What do you think comes up with this?
I I think it's probably going to be another triple threat match, but here's the thing: I'm probably going to say something that will be an opinion that not a lot of people will like, but I'm kind of over. I feel like we're overdoing the Joe Hendry appearances on WWE and NXT. Like, I love the WrestleMania appearance. I love the Royal Rumble ones, um, but after the WrestleMania one, it kind of feels like that maybe we should have just held off a bit. Um, and I know it's the fans pop for him every single time, um, but maybe it would have been better to kind of have someone else from the actual roster in that position. Um, because I feel like he's going to take the pin again in this whole thing, because I don't think they're going to have. I think this whole thing's going to lead to Oba versus Trick at a premium live event. So Trick's definitely not taking the pin. So that means that the TNA World Champ is going to take the pin again. And I just feel like he should be like a special attraction that should be kind of only saved for special times. And look, he's definitely gonna be signing a WWE contract when his deal's up. Like, that's just a surefire bet. So they'll have plenty of opportunities to use him consistently. I just don't think right now is the best time. I think you could have left it on that WrestleMania match and maybe brought him back when the time was right. And I don't think this time was right here. I think adding someone else to this Trick and Oba story, whether that's a debuting star or returning star, or somebody from like the main roster that's not even being used properly, I feel that would have been a much better use of resources than just kind of going with old reliable with Joe Hendry again. And as I said, I do absolutely love Joe Hendry. I just feel like we're overdoing the Joe Hendry on NXT bit a bit now, or Joe Hendry in WWE bit. It should be saved for special occasions. But if it does end up being a triple threat match, like I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic triple threat match. Oba does not miss with triple threat matches, especially the one this past weekend. Me and Kobe gave it 5 stars on our co-review for Stand and Deliver, and I have no doubt that this one will deliver as well. But yeah, I just feel like maybe it would have been better to use someone else in the NXT roster, or use someone on the main roster in Joe Hendry's position, because I feel like, one, it should be safe for special occasions, and two, I don't want to see the TNA World Champ get pinned again. Like, it's fine seeing Randy Orton pin him, but you're talking about NXT, which is kind of booked as the same level as TNA in WWE.
Yeah, if this was to set a triple threat, I don't like it, because I don't see any purpose of Joe Hendry being in a triple threat with Obafemi in it, for that reason that you said. But also, I agree 100%. The man just had a match on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I know Liv was on WrestleMania and she wrestled, but yeah, she's a WWE superstar. This match was kind of, that stipulation was created beforehand. He just had a match against Randy Orton on WrestleMania. And that was a gigantic moment, because that was the element of surprise. We didn't expect that to happen. Put him on after that just for a segment on NXT, it definitely doesn't make sense to me, unless I would highly advise a Trick Williams Joe Hendry storyline for TNA.
That would be very good. Yeah.
I think if we're gonna do this partnership, y'all just let Joe Hendry get on Mania and give you the big moment. Repay him a little bit. Give him someone like Trick Williams, who is a big time star, who is beloved by fans. The two guys with the most catchy theme songs that people are gonna chant. And this character of Trick going heel, I'm interested to see where it goes with, because obviously Trick started off as a heel, being Carmelo Hayes' his sidekick, but now we're starting to see a little bit more of an angry, a pissed off, a not goes for nothing side of Trick Williams. And part of me does feel, as amazing as Trick Williams is, the pecking order on the main roster, there is, like we mentioned with the women, there's a lot less spots for men at the pecking order. The men's roster is super stacked right now. And I would more so worry for where Trick Williams kind of fits in if he does get a call up out the gate. I still see value in Trick Williams on NXT. I think you could keep him for another 6 months to a year and allow him to just keep The same stuff they did with a Braun Breaker. Switch the tail, man. Make him go heel, right?
Yeah.
Let him kind of wreak havoc. Maybe let him do some stuff in TNA. It'd be fun. It'd be interesting, and it'll allow him to kind of, grow as a superstar. But we'll see if it does lead to a triple threat. I'm not gonna be
Hmm.
super excited for it. As good of a match it may be, like
Yeah.
it seems pointless to me.
Well,
Um,
on the
but
point of the Trick Williams kind of getting called up point, I completely agree that that there's been a lot of rumors about whether he'll get called up or not. He's not ready for it yet. Like he's got the fans behind him 100%. He's definitely over with his entrance music. He's fantastic on the mic. That one of the best in NXT on the mic. One of the best maybe in WWE at times on the mic. But he needs to find that character that as you said, we've got Bron Breaker. He found that character that he could take up to the main roster with him. Roxanne Perez, she's found that character that she can take up to the main roster with her. Trick Williams, he's still kind of in that sticky kind of transition between trying to evolve his current character, and I feel like we need to see him evolve and advance his character more first before
mhm.
like you said, before he gets called up. I think there's a lot, as you said, there's a lot of stock in Trick Williams. I just think calling him up now would be a mistake, because this is somebody that can be on a level of Jey Uso, and you don't want to waste that potential. Like it's when
I, I
we're not
highly
I'm not
agree.
just yeah
I think his trajectory is similar to Jey Uso, LA Knight.
yeah
Like these guys that are just has so much charisma. The fans are beloved towards his
yeah
work and his character. I think he does carry that type of stigma. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see where we go with him.
hmm
If he does get called up, it'll. So this is the thing. If he gets caught up, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think he could definitely find his way through it. I just think it's like a value aspect of it, because like as much as it is developmental too, like you still need some heads to like carry a good TV program, and
yeah
people
yeah
that are faces that people are fans of and whatnot. So it's gonna be it's gonna be one of these things that we'll kind of have to wait and see, and,
yeah
and kind of go off. But like, it's also at the point of it. Like, I would love to see him and Ricky feud, like just off of the fact that they
yeah
would be able to cut promos and go through it like that. Like, I
hmm
think that's one of those things that could be interesting as well. So, um, we got a couple comments. He got such long comments. We got Lozano. Archie, I think there's a way you can have this work if this match is happening at a premium live event. They could have someone attack Joe as he's going to ramp to the
yeah
ring. I mean, that
maybe
definitely could be a potential thing.
hmm
We also got him saying that I can see him challenging for the IC or US title, because it seems they're moving Breaker up to the heavyweight title scene by pairing him with Paul Heyman.
was that
Yeah,
Trick was that
I
Trick
guess.
Williams
Yeah, I guess with Trick, I
yeah
mean, he could potentially do that. He could be in that. I mean, he would definitely be in the mid card picture, kind of like how Carmelo Hayes
yeah
was in the mid card picture, kind of like how Braun Breaker, like you mentioned, initially
mhm,
was in the mid card picture. I think that's kind of how they handle guys who get called up. But
yeah
let's talk about the main event as we're winding up with time. Let's talk about the
mhm,
main event, because on cable television, or actually not cable television, the CW is free. So on free
mhm,
television, we got Stephanie Vaquer versus Roxanne Perez. And you want to talk about someone who is a worker, bro. You mentioned Liv Morgan. Stephanie, in a span of 3 days, so 3 matches in 4 days,
yeah
she has beaten Julia, Jordan Grace, Jada Parker, DQ, I guess, against EO, but wrestled
yeah
EO and then beat Roxanne Perez. That is an incredible list
hmm
of women
yeah
to have just wrestled in that short time span. And I just gotta say it, man. The woman is next level. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think that, like, you want to talk about the next sure thing as a superstar in the WWE from an NXT call up side. It's Stephanie Vaquer. Like, we saw a glimpse of it
Mhm.
on Monday Night Raw, and we are going to see it continue till she is wrestling as much as she wants to wrestle. Like, the woman commands so much of your attention in regards to the fact that the presence is just, you know, eyes are glued as soon as the music hits and she steps out. But once the bell rings, she is so well versed. And then you talk about Roxanne Perez. This was a very well wrestled match. These are two incredible women, two of the best at their craft, two of the best wrestlers in WWE. I'm not even going to say
Mhm.
NXT. I'm just going to say the
Yeah.
WWE as a whole. Roxanne loses. We get the face off. We get the Julia, Jordan, and her all kind of glaring at each other at the end. I'm gonna
Mhm.
be honest with you because this goes back to this whole triple threat aspect of it. I love Jordan Grace a lot, and I think she's phenomenal. I would rather Jordan Grace not be in this picture right now. I would
Yeah.
rather Jordan Grace go to SmackDown and wrestle in the mid card picture. I think the
Mhm.
story of Julia and Stephanie is more valuable than a triple threat between these three women to add Jordan Grace to it. I think that's the story. This is the best friends. These are the counterparts that wrestled out in Japan prior and then meeting up in NXT and having classics against each other and having that story and having that friendship and that friendship now being broken due to this title. Like that,
Mhm.
it has to be told with that. And that is my only reservation towards it. With Roxanne Perez, we got to get this woman on the main roster
Yeah.
ASAP, pronto. Like Roxanne Perez to me is AJ Lee Jr. Like she has that heel character down pat. And yesterday, like on Monday, the like just that evil smirk that she had, and then staring down them and from the from the rampway and whatnot. Like
Mhm.
she's gonna do so well. So position her, get her back over there. This is a broken record, I know, but let's do her some service and do that. I mean,
Yeah.
Arch, what do you think? Am I complaining a little too much, or do I have a little
Mm.
bit of validity what I'm talking about?
No, I don't think you're complaining too much. I mean, first of all, we'll start with Stephanie Vaquer. Um, she is, in my opinion, top 3 best women's wrestlers in the world, and she's one of the most surefire bets to be a megastar in WWE. Just from her undeniable aura, she's just got absolutely incredible in-ring presence where when she's having a match, you just have to have your eyes glued to her match to see what she does because she's just so entertaining in the ring. And we see it a lot. I said it before with Mercedes, where Mercedes Moné in the Athena match, she's so good at just those little facial expressions, those little things in matches. And Stephanie, I think she might have learned a thing or two from Mercedes in that regard because she is fantastic at that as well. Um, she's she's absolutely phenomenal. And they call her La Primera for a reason. Um, and she's just, yeah, as you said, the past weekend, she has been an absolute workhorse for WWE. I mean, she just had 2 dream matches in the space of 2 days against Io Sky and Roxanne Perez. So Stephanie Vaquer, she's 100% the next big thing in WWE. Um, and Roxanne Perez, I completely agree. She needs to be on the main roster soon, and I really hope it happens when it, or if WWE have another draft. I feel like that's when it's going to happen. So we're going to have to wait a few more weeks for that. But she needs to be on the main roster soon. And when she gets on the main roster, they need to not waste any time with her push because it's been a bit stop start over the past few months. Now, when she's a fully main roster superstar, they cannot waste any time with her push. I'd honestly say just push her straight into the world title scene. You mentioned that she's the comparisons with her to AJ Lee. To me, she's a bit of a comparison with AJ Lee, as you said, in those facial expressions and stuff like that, and Becky Lynch, because in terms of we've seen Roxanne Perez over the past year carry this women's division on her back or help elevate this women's division. And Becky Lynch is one of the best in not just in the women's wrestling, in wrestling in general, in being a ring general and helping elevate her opponents to a new level that they haven't seen before. Roxanne's the exact same, as she can just elevate opponents to a level that maybe they didn't think they could get to, or we'd never seen them get to. And that's why she's so good. It's not because of how good she is in the ring. It's because of what she brings out of others in the ring is why she's so good. You know, the best wrestlers, the best wrestlers of all time aren't the ones that you have to find the right opponent for them. They're the ones that can make it work with anyone. And Roxanne's somebody that can, if you put her in a match with anyone on NXT, anyone in the women's division in NXT, on a premium live event, you could say that could be a 4-star match, or that could be a 4.5-star match, or that could even be a 5-star match. You know, she's just that good at elevating talent to new heights. And it's crazy how good she is at that, and how young she is. She's just a year older than me, like 23 or 22 or something like that. That's crazy how good she is already at her age. She's only going to get better. And I can't wait for her to get called up to the main roster. This match was great. They left a lot to be desired, as they should have done, because they're going to run it back again at some point. These two are destined to do it again. Same with Io and Stephanie. They left a lot to be desired yesterday. So yeah, this was a great match, and I do agree with you that maybe Jordynne Grace should be out of this picture, and it should just be Julia and Stephanie, because this is a story that we haven't really told much. And we need to see that story being told, because this could actually be like a very heated and tense rivalry if they wanted it to be. I thought they could have done the Julia heel turn a lot better, but they can always turn it around. And I really hope that we do see a proper Stephanie and Julia kind of singles feud at some point. But yeah, fantastic match, and no less than what I expected from two of the best in the world.
Yeah, and you know what? The beauty is that I do think now that we're done with Mania season, I think that having these mid card belts will make the transition so much easier for a lot of
Yeah.
these people that will be called up. I
Mhm.
mean, literally everyone we just named, Stephanie, Julia, Roxanne, Jordan, all have a
Yeah.
strong case to win the IC or the US title when they get called
Yeah.
up onto the main roster.
Honestly, I think they're good enough to go straight into the world title scene and bump someone down to the mid card title scene instead. You know, they're
To,
that good and they're that
to
popular
me,
already.
like I think you mentioned it. I think Roxanne is the perfect rival for Io on this title
Yeah.
reign. Like I think she doesn't need to win, but she can give you enough of that, good heel to make a good rival for her.
Yeah.
Incredible match. Like that's a match that can really be positioned on a PLE. I think
Mhm.
Vaquer is someone that could probably beat Io for the title whenever she gets called
Yeah,
up.
probably.
To
Yeah.
be honest with you, I think Jordynne Grace is someone, like I mentioned, I think that's a person I would love to see have a feud with Tiffany. I think
Mhm.
Julia is another person. Honestly, Julia and Tiffany is something that a lot of people wouldn't think about, but I think
Yeah.
that's kind of Julia to me has like a sense of a character that's so menacing and serious,
Yeah.
where it's kind of like you go against, like, if you positioned her someone versus Tiffany, Tiffany is gonna have to be kind of like it, book wise. She's gonna be rattled. She's gonna be like, I don't know what to expect. This is
Yeah.
someone who's like a just straight up killer that's
Mhm.
going for my jugular. So like, and then
Yeah.
besides that, man, you got I'm not even mentioning like a person like a Jada Parker, who we saw today have the little
Yeah.
backstage promo. I don't think there's a lot of women in pro wrestling that cut better promos than her. Like
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
quick wit. Like to me, she's got the you were talking about Becky Lynch and Roxanne. She's
Hmm.
got that part of Becky Lynch, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Quick
Definitely.
witted, hella confident, a lot of like just knowing how to get into different pockets with how you insult your opponents and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like she carries that with her. So I mean, this is man, the division is absolutely insane. I can't.
That's the thing is that there's the draft the draft.
It's 20 deep, bro.
Yeah, the draft needs to come soon because there's actually a case of having too much star quality in NXT right now. I mean, you can call up Jordan Grace and Jada Parker, and straight away you've kind of injected some energy into the US title scene.
Oh
And one
yeah.
one that one
Oh,
that looks incredibly bland right now.
either a Jordan, like a Jada Parker and Chelsea Green
Hmm.
rivalry feud would be really
Yeah, yeah,
entertaining. Like that would
that'd be
be
cool. That'd be cool.
peak entertainment. Jordan Grace
Hmm.
and Chelsea Green. Obviously, there's familiarity between both of those
Yeah,
women.
lots of history
Prior,
there.
yeah, history being in TNA, so it would make a lot of sense. But
Hmm.
that is all the time that we have today, man. I appreciate you, Big Arch, for coming out
No
there,
problem. No problem.
substituting. Obviously, the doors open whenever, this probably won't be the last time we have you on or off the air. And
Yeah.
thank y'all in the comments for tuning in and rocking with us. We'll be back with Off the Air, same time next week. So don't miss that. Also, Wrestling Republic Daily broadcast, the dailies are always at
Yeah.
the same time. So be on there tomorrow, Wednesday, Newsday. Are you on the show
Yeah.
tomorrow?
I'm on the show tomorrow. It's going to be about WWE's acquisition of Triple R. So yeah, that'll be or Triple R. I don't know how to say it, but
Hey, no battery. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be an interesting one
no,
because they got worlds collide, and I'm excited to see. Honestly, I am excited to see how that shapes up. Because
yeah, I am as well.
them having a pretty big weekend because I think that's Money in the Bank weekend if I'm not mistaken, right,
Yeah, it's on the same
Joe?
day as well. Yeah.
Oh, it's on the same day.
Yeah, so Worlds Collide is like around stand and deliver time, I think. And then Money in the Bank's later on that night. It's quite weird. There's only like an hour between the two shows, so I mean they might have to change that, like for fans to kind of get in
Yeah,
if they're going to do
like
combo tickets and stuff. And
I'm hoping that's a mistake. I'm interested to see
yeah,
what that shapes up to be. Obviously, Triple A
triple
has a
Triple A, Triple R.
Triple I. They got a extensive history and whatnot.
Hmm.
But like the roster wise, I can't lie to you. I don't know a lot of that are on the luchador part of it. Like I know a
Yeah,
few, and of course, Vikingo is the big
he's the
coveted
big one.
name,
Yeah, he's the big
and
one. Yeah,
I'm excited
they
to
got
see if he
yeah.
does. I'm assuming the duel was at WrestleMania, so I'm assuming he's gonna be on this card.
Yeah, which is
Um,
which is which is wild. I think, um, I think Vikingo is somebody that we can see we can expect to see on NXT a lot, over the
like
next few months or so. I mean, which is going to
yeah,
be insane. I mean, think of
yeah.
Vikingo versus Obafemi or Javon Evans. Like that'd be insane.
That's my guess is gonna be him versus Obafemi for
Yeah,
Worlds Collide.
probably.
I feel like that
Hmm.
would be honestly that's a headline type of match to
Yeah,
have for that card. Like
they basically the ultimate David and versus Goliath match. Like in
yeah,
terms of like giant
because
versus little guy.
I would probably run that, and then I would obviously probably have Vikingo would probably lose that match. But yeah,
Yeah.
him versus Javon, I think him versus like either guy on Fraxium would be a
Yeah, oh,
fun
that'd be
one.
insane. Yeah, yeah.
So he's definitely got some matches, but that is all the time that we have, man. Appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next time. In the words of Jay Uso, deuces, ooses. We are out of here. Peace.